welcome to this brief tutorial on net income and net loss. In this brief video, we are going to look at three important questions, which generally students ask: what net income and loss is, how to calculate net income and loss, and in which financial statement you can find net income or net loss. So starting with our first question, what net income or net loss is, it's a very simple definition here. It's just the profit earned by the business. It's the profit earned by the business, and that is of course net income. And net loss is basically loss made by the business, and that is just as net loss. We are going to look at the formula, how it is calculated, and you would see what is the main difference between profit and loss. Moving on to our second question, as I said, how do we calculate net income and net loss? If you look at the very simple in layman terms, it's simply the difference between the revenue minus the expenses, and that would give you a number which could be a profit or loss. So profit would usually occur when your revenue is greater than expenses. So if the company has earned more and has paid less, then of course that is your profit, or also called income. Whereas loss is when your revenue is less than expenses. In other words, company has incurred more expenses than what company has been able to earn in terms of revenue. So they have made less money and they have paid out more in expenses. Generally, this would be the case when you are starting a new business. You would see that you would have businesses would have net loss instead of net income. That is very normal. You will be profitable if you're successful. You will be profitable later on in the business life cycle. So if your expenses are greater than revenue, then of course that is a loss. Moving on to our third question, is just in which financial statement you can search for this number, which is net income or loss, and that financial statement is basically commonly known as income statement. So it's commonly known as income statement, and you would be able to find net income over there. And I will show you an example in the next slide how an income statement looks like. So this is an example here. This is you would see it would usually be in this format. This is the name of company. So you would start with the name of company here. The title of the income statement. This is the title of let's say financial statement, because income statement is a type of financial statement. We have several different financial statements. We have 4 main financial statements, and I will make another video on that. You can always watch that. And then this is the period for which income statement is made for. Income statement is for. Right. So you have 3 lines here. The first one tells you the name of the company, that the income, basically the financial statement, which financial statement it is, and it also tells you with the 3rd line for which period it is. Then you would start with your income statement. The first line you would see is sales, which is also the revenue, right? This is the money that business has generated by selling their goods and services. You can actually tell what kind of company this could be, either a merchandise or a sales company. We have 2 types of companies here: merchandise or service companies, right? Merchandise or service companies, these are retail operations, general retail operations, and these are companies which offer services, right? So services, for example, audit, which is provided by Big Fours, consulting, for which we have Big Threes, McKinsey, BCG, Bain, these guys. So these are service companies, all right? So starting with income statement, you would have sales revenue at the very top at the first line. Then if it's a merchandise company, you would have cost of sales here, which is basically the cost of purchases of inventory and the cost of selling of that inventory. So how much it costed you to sell that inventory, and that is your cost of sales. You minus sales from cost of goods sold. So sales minus cost of goods sold. This gives you gross profit. This gives you gross profit, which you can basically find here. So this is your gross profit in here. Then after having gross profit, you deduct your operating expenses. So operating expenses are general expenses. These are general expenses, right? General expenses, and you could have so for example, selling, general and administrative. Another example could be salaries expense, right? Salaries expense. You could have rent expense. So these are all types of expenses. These are types of expenses. And once you deduct your expenses from gross profit, you would get operating profit, and other term for net income. So this is your net income. It's also called a net profit sometimes, right? So this is also called net profit sometimes. So in this case, you can see that your income, your revenue, not income, your revenue is greater than the total expenses, and you generate a positive number here. So if it's a positive number, that's your net income. And if it's a negative number, then it's a net loss, right? So this is an example of income statement, general example, and where you can find the number. So this is the key term that we are talking about, net profit or net income, and you can find this number on income statement. So just to do a quick recap of this brief video on net income, we looked at 3 questions. What net income or loss is? It's the profit earned by the business, which refers to net income. And loss is basically when business is losing money. So coming to the second question, there are 2 ways that you can calculate net income. The first one is net income equals to sales revenue minus expenses if it's a service company. And then another formula, this is first, and this is the second formula, could be net income is equals to sales revenue minus cost of sales minus expenses, and this could be a retail or a merchandise company. Right, and to generate net income, your revenue should be greater than expenses, and for a net loss, your revenue would be less than expenses. So this is income, and this is loss. In which financial statement you can find this number, net income or net loss? It's income statement. Hope you find this video useful for your learning.